Hi, and welcome everybody to another edition of the Winner's Circle Sports Betting Podcast. I'm Ross Benjamin. As always, I'm joined by my fellow professional sports handicapper, Chip Chirimbus. Chip, good morning.
Good morning. How are you, Ross?
I can't complain whatsoever. You know, Chip, you always break my hump about the weather in Florida. Well, guess what? It was 77 here yesterday in Western New York in early April.
Good, but you know, it was 82 here. Oh, no, that's the surf temperature. Sorry.
Yeah, that's the difference. You can go in the water there right now. I think Lake Ontario went from the last time we talked 38 up to 42. So,
oh, goodness me. I did my skates.
You don't want to be taking a dip to cool off here like you can in South Florida.
Yeah, but it must be great for ice skating during the winter.
You know? Absolutely. That's why there's a lot of good hockey players that come from this region. Yeah. Anyway, Chipper, on a more serious note, we're going to give out some NBA free picks today. One from me, one from you. But before we get to that segment, tell the people how you've been doing of late. I know you're off to a terrific start in Major League Baseball, where they can find you. And give the people a little bit of insight. Chip Chirimbus has been a successful sports handicapper for almost 40 years now in our industry. Started at a very young age, still looks pretty damn good for his age. And share just maybe a foundational point in a specific sport that you could enlighten the customers on or viewers.
All right. And by the way, you know, just to mention, like you said, I got off to a great start in baseball. After going 1-1 with Megabuck plays, I've hit my last 6 in a row. And really feeling good and seeing things out there. And what do you see, though, Ross? Like you said, for me, I'm a numbers reader. You know, some people like to play trends or play teams that are hot, or they know the teams, you know, they evaluate the talent. Well, I think that the bookmakers already evaluated the talent. And I think the bookmaker knows more than I do about it. When I see a line, be it football, baseball, basketball, that to me is an anomaly. It looks out, something's wrong. It's askew for some reason. And I'd start at that point, and then I'd examine the game from there. Like, why is this number at this point? Pro or con? There may be injuries. There may be a lot of different factors. And it's our job, my job, I think it is, to research and find out why that number is where it is. If I don't see anything wrong with players or the situation or something dramatic, I then have to see and look. What is the betting public and attitude toward this game? Have they seen this the same way I have? Do they see that there's an error here or a misjudgment? Or are they going to go hog wild on this side because what they think is supposed to be a 6-point favorite is only a 2-point favorite, and they think they're getting the best of the number? But like I said, the bookmakers are giving you too many deals out there.
Yeah, and to touch upon that further, you know, you started out by saying you don't care about the player talent on both sides. Now, me and you have a different approach, but one thing in common is that, look, if we know about it, the odds makers have known about it well before we have, okay? In other words, player injuries, weather, whatever the case may, miscellaneous circumstances that may go into making a line. When you say that you're looking for players who are out, to make sure that that line is a money line movement instead of a player movement. In other words, a key player being out is huge. I'll give you an example. The other night, Houston and Atlanta, they scratched Clint Capella, Atlanta center, and you know, the line moved 3 points. Well, he's the best defensive center in the league. He's averaging 18 points per game, double-digit rebounds. So that's a perfect example of what Chip's saying, folks. It's not that he's saying that I'm looking at Atlanta's roster and I'm looking at New Orleans' roster, and Atlanta's got the better roster. So, and they've won 6 in a row, so they should be the winner. You know, he's looking at, okay, why is this line where it's at? And am I missing anything? Meaning, I think it should be 4 or 5. It's 2. Is there anybody missing out of the lineup? I think that's what you're trying to say, right, Chip?
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's when I look and I see these numbers, I mean, there was a situation this year. We had a team in baseball that had lost 4 in a row, and all of a sudden they come up favored on the road. And that sends up a red flag to me. Why are they favored? They haven't won a game yet, and they're on the road. They haven't come home yet. So it's things like that that, like I said, that look out of the ordinary, which draw my attention, and then I try and evaluate it from there.
If I recall, that was the Oakland A's. They lost their first 4 at home, and then they went on the road and were a road favorite. I don't know the exact situation, but yeah, that's a perfect example. Look, I always say this: you have to think like an odds maker. If you think like an odds maker and respect his ability to set an accurate line, you're one step ahead of the majority of the rest betting on sports. So if you think you're smarter than the odds maker, you're doomed to fail. We both know a couple people in our current life like that, right, Chip? We've had these discussions.
Absolutely.
You're not smarter than the odds maker. It's not going to happen. So, and the other part of the equation is, if it looks too good to be true when it comes to sports betting, it normally is. Okay. So again, it touches upon what Chip said. My personal thing is foundationally, I'm a technical handicapper. I have at my disposal 4D handicapping software, which about 15 people in the country have. Myself, Mark Lawrence, El McMorty, to name a few. I like to use that tool. Now, I don't bank a lot on trends. I look at betting algorithms. Now, having said that, I'm not married to just that aspect. Once I come up with a betting algorithm, I'm also looking at similar things that Chip just alluded to, and combining the two. It's made me last as long as I have. Let's just say that, Chip.
Ross, there are so many different factors we take in. There isn't just one viewpoint.
Right.
We don't look at a game from one angle on one side and go, "Oh, this is it." I mean, I think that's part of what we do, and what you're saying is that after you get your information, then you put the task, these other factors. Maybe the trends might come into it. If there's some out there that are kind of strong, but for the most part, I understand exactly what you're saying about just having to look at it from different angles.
Yeah, I mean, and I'll go back to this, Chip. I got away from my handicapping software for a couple of years, and my results weren't as favorable. I've recently really used that as my key component. It was what catapulted my career, to be quite honest with you. And recently, Chip, 10-2 with my last 12 in the NBA. 49-31 with my last 80 in the NBA. All those games took place this season. Currently ranked number 5 in the NBA, and I'm off to a 7-4 start to this 2021 Major League Baseball season. You could find my premium picks, my paid selections to go to my clients at rbwins.com. You could do the same for Chip Chirimbus by going to his personal website. That's chipwins.com. Doesn't get any easier than that, folks. rbwins.com, chipwins.com. And I know, let me touch upon this before we get to our free picks, Chip, and be patient with me for a second here.
Sure, yeah.
A lot of complaints from our viewers of late. We haven't done well with our free picks. And I made the mistake of, it can be misconstrued, of saying, look, I don't bet on my free picks. And I don't. It's a bottom line. Here's the way it goes, folks. When me and Chip handicap daily, we're pretty much getting 4 to 5 selections that we think that are qualifiers. And then at some point we eliminate 1 or 2 games. It's similar to the NCAA tournament, right? It's the first 4 teams out, or it's the first 4 picks out. And what we like to do is give you the top one of those first 4 picks that are out. Now, having said that, there's a lot of you out there to say, well, if you win your free picks, then we invest in your pay picks. And I'm telling you, that's 98.9% of the time that's false. Because if we win all our free picks, we're doomed if we do, and we're doomed if we don't. If we win all our free picks, why should you buy our pay picks? And if we lose our free picks, you complain. So I just want to let you know, in the last 7 days at Sports Capping, I'm number 2 in the country, and Chip is number 4. So there's a reason why you pay for our selections. And again, if you're a paying client and we're giving out our pay picks for free online, you're going to be a little bit perturbed. And you just don't do business that way. Having said that, we want to win these free picks. Hey, it is what it is. Chip, go ahead.
Russ,
I know you wanted to add something.
Yeah, as bad as it was for me, I was actually giving out premium picks as my free picks, and that's how poorly it was going with that particular game. You give out you give out a play here, and I knew we weren't going well, and I said, well, let me give something of substance, but who knows, because that game didn't win for us right here as a free play. I know that. Some of the other games that surrounded it won, but not the games we were using on Winner's Circle. So I hope we can come out of it. We can break out
an
NBA winner today.
And I know a couple of people got perturbed with my statement and said, well, that's incredible. Folks, I've been doing this too long. You're not going to guilt me into giving you pay selections, okay? It's not going to happen, okay? I've proven I could win for my paid clients. If you want to win on a consistent basis, and then if you pay and want to complain, I'll at least have an ear. But to complain about these free picks, here's what you should get out of this. This discussion that me and Chip just had and how we approach our games. That's what you should get out of it. The reasons why we give you a free pick. In other words, whatever Chip's pick or my pick is going to be today, we're going to give you a reason why we like those picks. And hopefully, win or lose, you can gain something by that approach. That's what you should be getting out of these. If it wins, it's a cherry on top. Anyway, Chip, let's get to our free picks. Now that I got done with this rant. Chip, start with you. What do you like in the NBA tonight as a free, not pay, a free selection?
Well, this is part of my package today. I have 3 NBA games out there. We've done really well. We've really caught fire again after you remember, Ross, I said here for 2-3 weeks and said how I was struggling.
It happens.
And it's all come together right now, and I'm really happy because the NCAA has ended. Major League Baseball's here, and it's just NBA as well. So I'm going to go with one of the lead games out there for me with Orlando. And I'm talking about a home team getting points from Indiana. And a lot of this is injury laden. Indiana has lost Sabonis. They've lost Brogan, and Turner's out. Meanwhile, Miles Turner. Meanwhile, Orlando is getting people back. And Indiana hasn't played well at all. They're 6-21, Ross, overall against the number in their last 21 games. Orlando's gone 5-2-1 at home. They're 6-2 to the number overall in their last 8. So I've got 2 teams trending in different directions, which is a current trend right now. And you have one team that's 6-2 against the number in their last 8. Another team 6-15 in their last 26 or 21 rather. I'm going to take the points. I'm going to take the Magic at home against Indiana.
And that's Orlando plus 4.5. And again, the key phrase there is recent trend. If you're going to lean toward trends, make sure it's over the last year or two, meaning team trends. Sometimes that's just indicative of a coaching staff and a consistency within. So again, recent trends, I put a lot of stock in, not these trends where you see Boston is 96-28 as a home favorite of -4 off a loss since 1996. Who cares? Anyway, I'm going to use a bad team, and I'm going to ask it to do good things for me, just like Chip did. And I know we've been a proponent of saying, don't ask bad teams to do good things for you. But however, it's about the betting situation. It's not about who the better team is. It's about what one team may be coming off of and another team where they're at this particular moment in time. Okay. Having said that, Houston travels to the Staples Center tonight to take on the LA Clippers. The LA Clippers, Chipper, cashed in for me last night, my 10-star top play. I had the Clippers -6 over Phoenix. Again, another winner in the NBA, 10 of my last 12, 49-31 my last 80 with my NBA pay selections. And now the LA Clippers, after playing last night against a division rival that they've trailed in the standings by 3 games and came up big with a win and a cover, now take on the lowly Houston Rockets, and they're a 13.5-point favorite in this game. Now, having said that, Houston is coming off a double-digit underdog, straight-up upset win against the Dallas Mavericks in their last game. The game prior to that, they were also a home dog of 10 points, and they took Phoenix down to the wire before they lost 133-130. My point being, they're being very competitive of late, and they're catching the Clippers in what I deem to be a potential flat spot, playing with no rest, coming off a big division win against a team they trailed in the standings. And by the way, that Houston win over Dallas was in a similar situation. I'm referring to Houston's upset win against Dallas in their previous game. Dallas had just come off a huge upset win against the Utah Jazz, who they trailed in their division standings. And then they ran into Houston as a double-digit favorite, and they get knocked off. I'm going to take the Houston Rockets here, plus the 13.5 at the LA Clippers. So hold your nose, folks, because both of the teams that we are backing today stink. And we're taking Chippers on Orlando, plus 4.5. I'm on Houston, plus 13.5. Again, you can find us, rbwins.com, chipwins.com. Until the next time, for Chip Chirimbus, I'm Ross Benjamin. Good luck and God bless.